In this lesson, we'll separate some of the pieces that we've created into smaller panels that match the panels on the actual car. So cars are created with panels of sheet metal kind of put together, and so there are certain areas where those are kind of very obvious. So if we look in the on the side view here, we can see there's a line here where we've got kind of a panel where maybe is a different type of material attached. Maybe this is a metal, and then we've got kind of a plastic down here or something. But in any case, we want to achieve the same kind of look, and so there are several different ways that we can kind of separate our pieces into separate panels. And the first way is to actually detach that. So if I go and look at the back here, I can take a polygon selection and go across and actually select all of the polygons that I want to detach. So in this case, looking at this from the side, okay, this is going to be that bottom panel. Okay, so we can go ahead and take this and say, okay, that's good. Let's go ahead and just detach that. Okay, so we'll go ahead to Edit Geometry and Detach, and there we go. Okay, now keep in mind that we're going to have to add some resolution along this to actually make this look good when we smooth it. Okay, we want to have a little bit of thickness there. Right, so if we go to cut, we can go ahead and just bring edges kind of right along here. Now in this case, we want to go ahead and just bring that down and then start from this edge and come down. So then we go pick this vertex, not this one, but the other one. Go ahead and pick that vertex. And you can go ahead and actually pull that out. We don't need that edge, that other edge up there. So we can go ahead and get rid of that. Okay? And you can just continue to draw that out, following along here. So coming along here. Now at this point you want to turn the corner, so we'll go ahead and turn that corner. Right? And then we can select these edges since it's a kind of a straight shot. Just go ahead and select by ring, and we'll go ahead and just connect that and make it the same as the other one. So we'll go ahead and slide that up, give it kind of the same width there, and then we can go ahead and connect that with our cut. Okay, and finally we'll want to go ahead and take these two vertices and we'll just weld those together. There we go. And maybe pull that down a little bit. And you want to do the same thing up here on this top part, right? What you also want to do is add just a little bit of thickness, right? So we can take this edge, for instance, and we can go ahead and take maybe from here and just do it in sections. So we'll kind of take this all the way down, and we'll just go ahead and turn on wireframe so we can see this a little bit better. Just hold down Shift and pull that in slightly, and maybe one more just to give it some thickness. And then you'll want to come in here and do the same thing and then match those up, right? So come in and select those edges, bring that in, and then you've got two vertices in here that you need to match up and weld together. So we'll go ahead and weld those. Make sure you get them both selected there. And so we'll apply that and then select both of these, apply that, and say OK. And so now we're getting some thickness in here, right? So that when we go ahead and smooth this, it'll look a little bit better, okay? We'll have a curve, but we'll get kind of a nice tight line there. And so the idea is that you want to have this, you want to add the thickness to this one as well. So then you'll actually end up with a kind of a nice tight line. Now there's another way to do this as well that doesn't involve disconnecting this. And this is going to work a little bit better for us on the front because we have kind of a straight line there. So we'll go ahead and turn smoothing off. And the place where we want to make a panel is right here. The first thing I'm going to do is select these vertices. Okay, just want these selected. And let me deselect anything else that we may have here. Just deselect all of those. So we just have these. And so now what I want to do is make these planar. Okay, so we'll go to Edit Geometry, make planar, and we'll just make them planar in the Y. That'll kind of flatten them out. Now we'll take this edge, and what I want to do is add enough resolution so that I can create this sharpness here. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is go to chamfer. We'll go ahead and chamfer that. And I want to take that chamfer amount down quite a bit. Okay, and let's go ahead and add, I think we want to go ahead and add two segments, I believe. And then we'll take that chamfer amount down quite a bit. So you want kind of a nice tight line there. And you see we've got 3 edges basically. We'll select that middle edge, go ahead and select it with a loop select. And now instead of doing a chamfer, we'll go ahead and do an extrude on this edge. Okay, it's going to look kind of crazy, so we'll take that extrude to a negative amount, something pretty small. And let's go ahead and take this extrusion base width down. Okay. And as I take this down, you'll see now I'm getting those edges back. So what I've got now is, and you could have those even touching and that would be okay. I'll just leave them a little bit so we can see what's going on. We have an edge to define that, the edge of the panel. We have an edge to hold it, and we have an edge in the middle. And what this is going to do, this is still one piece, but if we come in and smooth this, it's going to give the same effect as if we had cut that. Okay, but it's still one piece. You can see we have a nice clean cut right across there, so it looks like it's kind of fitted together. Whereas in the back, we may have to do a little bit more work as far as coming in and adding thickness. Okay? So on this, just make sure you do the same thing, exact same thing we did on this. Okay, you want to add an edge along here, add an edge along here. Okay? And then you want to go in and add some thickness to it. Just a little bit. It doesn't have to be thick all the way through. Just a little bit so that that edge will, you'll be able to see a little bit of a bevel there. All right. So once we get that done, the next lesson we're going to come down and we're actually going to, I think, start on the cab. Right. So we've got this whole area of the car we haven't touched yet. So we'll look at how we can start to build this up and kind of the order of how we can do this. Or obviously many different ways we could do this, just as there are many different ways we could build a car itself. So we'll look at just a few of those ways as we come in the next lesson and do that. So we'll see you next.